Hey, what's going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you another day here. It's running the 5-game NBA main slate on Friday. A couple things before I get into the video. If you're new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos talking about NBA DFS as well as NFL DFS. I'm also running a weekly giveaway on the channel. How it works is all you have to do is a like and a comment in the video. It's one inch in the giveaway. Max one comment though per video. So it started with my Monday night showdown video that I uploaded at the beginning of the week. We'll go throughout the week and we'll end my Monday night, I guess, NBA video now since there's no Monday Night Football. So, however many videos I've uploaded for the week, I'm going to give away that many times. So I have 10 videos uploaded for the week, I'm going to give away 10 times. And the winner receives $20 PayPal for myself. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. First, let's look back at one of the more tilting slates of the year. So, this is my final lineup: Alfred Payton, Dennis Schroeder, Ingles, Julius Randle, Jarrett Allen, Fox, Bagley, and Jonas Valanciunas. So, I was actually off to a decent start. I know Jarrett Allen was disappointing. That was his really floor game. I did not expect him to get below 20, but I was in good shape, at least for cash games, because Drummond was really high owned and only had like 28 fancy points. Randall was huge, right? You guys knew I really liked him. He was low owned, 47 fancy points. Ingles just started. He's hot. 14 points, real life points in the first quarter. Schroeder and Alfred Payton were solid. Jonas Valanciunas is okay. Bagley, I like to get him out. And then De'Aaron Fox ends up getting injured. In the first 2 minutes, he was, in my opinion, probably the best play of the night. And just to add insult to injury, I think what's even more tilting about this is he wasn't that high owned. He was 42% in this big double up, but in other double ups, he was like 30% owned. So, if he was like 85% owned or something really high, I would have had a chance to still cash, but not going to be able to with a low owned Fox and him getting injured in 2 minutes. That's the way DFS goes sometimes. Injuries are literally the most tilting thing, that or ejections, because your night is over literally right away. Try not to be so down. I'll try not to be so down about it. It's super frustrating, but the good thing about DFS is there's always another day. So, just to try to forget about it. If you played Fox, again, just try to move on, try to forget about it. The worst thing is just letting it or keep thinking about it. So let's move on to this 5-game slate. There's actually 6 games tomorrow, but one game's like 4 o'clock, so that's not on the main slate. Let's see. Yeah, so 5 games. Let's look at some numbers here. Again, that Cleveland Boston game not on the main slate, so that's a showdown slate. We got 4 of the 5 out right now. OKC, Charlotte sitting at 210.5. OKC favored by 4.5 points. Philly and Orlando sitting at 209.5. Philly favored by 3. The Bucks and the Hawks sitting at 237.5. Bucks are 11.5 point favorites. So that game, if you get it right, is probably going to be key. If it stays close, it could be a gold mine. If it blows out, you could be in some of those value guys could get you there. So that game, I think, is key to the slate. Suns Warriors sitting at 223.5 with the Suns favored by 3. That game, as of right now, is probably my favorite game to game stack. But let's talk about it. So we'll start at center today. Joel Embiid. Again, anytime you can get him under 10K, I always say with Embiid, he's still underpriced. I think he's a 10.5K player. The game against Milwaukee they blew him out in a little bit, 28 minutes. In close games, he normally gets, about 32 to 33 minutes. This is not really the best spot against Vucevic. Vucevic, a pretty solid defender. But again, he's under 10K, so you're kind of betting on the talent there. No issue if you want to go there for Embiid. Again, I like his price. Now, Bam Adebayo and Domantas Sabonis, 2 of my favorite players in the NBA. You guys know I love Sabonis. You know I love Bam. Going into the year, I said he was going to have a breakout year. He really has just had a huge year, Bam. He's playing the huge minutes too. They'll probably match up against each other a little bit here. Bam's just a guy I love playing because he fills up the stat sheet. Rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, and when he's scoring the ball, he can have a huge game. So even at that elevated price point, I don't mind Bam here. Again, he has just been so good recently. And same thing with Sabonis. His price really isn't budging. Now, the game against Toronto did it did go to overtime, I should say. Normally, he's a guy that gets about 35 or so minutes. Either way, I wouldn't mind going there in a tougher spot. So, Bam and Sabonis, 2 of my favorite players, both in, not ideal matchups. They're not terrible, though. So I don't mind either of those guys either if you get to them. Vucevic at under 8K. So kind of the same breakdown as Embiid, right? Embiid, not really the best spot, but I like his price. And kind of the same thing with Vucevic here. Not really a great spot against Embiid, but the price is appealing. So yeah, again, you're kind of betting on talent there with Vucevic and Embiid. All honesty, am I going to play Vucevic or am I going to play Embiid? Probably not. Am I going to get to Bam or Sabonis? Probably not, but we'll see. Again, I'll talk about some other guys that I like in faster paced games. Let's see. John Collins here at 7.6K. So again, this game I think is key. 11.5 point spread, but 237.5 over under. He his first game back, he played 35 minutes, so obviously they're not going to limit him. He played a lot at the center too, which is really good to see. That just boosts his fantasy appeal, and his price tag hasn't moved. So, it all comes down to this. Do you think this game stays close? If you think Atlanta keeps this game close, you probably want to target some guys in this game. If you think it blows out, then maybe you target one of those value guys. So, yeah, if I knew John Collins was going to play 35 minutes, I would probably play him. But again, there is some concern there with the blowout. We still got no DeAndre Ayton. PJ Washington is back, and they said he's going to be on no minutes limit because he was dealing with a finger issue. So I think he is a perfectly fine option at this price. I don't think he's going to kill you. He probably gets 35 or so minutes. So yeah, I think he's more of a cash game play, I guess. Steven Adams, kind of the same thing. I think he's going to play for cash. The minutes have been pretty consistent for him, about close to 30 a game. This is a really good spot here against Charlotte. You want to target bigs against Charlotte. So don't mind there Steven Adams at all for cash games. I think you can definitely go there for GPPs too if you want. Horford at price under 6K is fine. Another guy that I think is more of a cash game play. Don't know if he has huge upside playing alongside Embiid and Ben Simmons, but I don't think he's going to kill you. Miles Turner at 5.6. His minutes have been a little bit up and down. So I think he's very much in play because of his price. He's still cheap. Again, he's 32, 24, 22, 36 minutes. So the minutes are kind of all over the place. If he gets 35 minutes, I'd obviously really like him. But if he gets on the low end, then maybe not so much. So maybe only for GPPs there at 5.6K for Miles Turner. Cody Zeller, the minutes went down for him. And we've got PJ Washington back. I can't go there right now. Aaron Baines at 4.8K, I think stands out as a decent play. We got no DeAndre Ayton, so he's probably going to start and play around 30 minutes. And Golden State, we do want to target big against Golden State. So I think Aaron Baines stands out as a perfectly fine option at 4.8K. I think you can look there for cash or GPPs. Bismack Biyombo, 4.6K. So, these Charlotte bigs I'm not super excited about. Now with PJ Washington back in the mix, they could run small ball. They got Marvin Williams. Now they have a lot of bodies where I don't know if I'd want to take a shot on one of those Charlotte guys, or Charlotte bigs, I should say. Now, Willie Cauley-Stein, he was one of my favorite value plays there on Christmas. 26 fantasy points at 4.2K. His price went up $300, but I still think he stands out as a good value option here. He's been last 3 games, 28, 30, and 31 minutes, which is good to see. Right, he's playing about 30 minutes a game. This game should be played at a faster pace. So I think Willie Cauley-Stein stands out as another solid value play at this price. Him and Aaron Baines is pretty close for which one I prefer. You can definitely play both if you want to. I think both are a little bit underpriced right now. Alex Len, so he is doubtful. So you would think that we could look to some of those Atlanta centers, but I really don't think we should here. So let me go to the Atlanta centers really quick with no Alex Len. So Damian Jones in that game that Alex Len got injured only played 9 minutes, and Bruno Fernando only played 10 minutes. And that was against a Cleveland team that runs big, right? They have Kevin Love, they have Tristan Thompson. This is against a Milwaukee team that they will have Brook Lopez out there, but that's about it. They don't really have 2 bigs. So with Jones and Fernando being limited there, even with Len getting injured and being doubtful, I don't think I could go to either of those guys as a value play. So really, it would only be John Collins, but that's if you think the game stays close. Other options, Noel's, under 4K, don't mind him. He probably gets, 15 to 20 minutes. He is a pretty productive guy, so I think he stands out as a safer value option there. Kaminsky at 3.9, the minutes have been down on him. If he was going to play about 25 or so minutes, I would like him, but as of right now, I don't know if I can do it with 11, 13, and 18 minutes the last 3 games. I do like His upside, I do like his price. The minutes just have not been there. Myers Leonard at 3.6. The minutes have actually been creeping up on him. 29, 22, and 22 minutes the last 3 games. Normally, he's a guy that gets about 15 or so minutes. So if this trend's going to continue, if Myers Leonard is going to continue to play over 20 minutes, I think you have to have interest in him at 3.6K. But, is he going to continue to? I don't know, because they do have other guys they can use. So I think he's in play for sure as a value guy. Again, if he gets over 20 minutes, I think he stands out as a pretty decent option. Kelly Olynyk, the minutes are all over the place for him. 18, 8, 26, 8. So obviously he's only in play for GPPs there at that price. Marquise Chris, also only for GPPs for me. It is a revenge game narrative. He's a guy that's not going to play huge minutes, but in 15 or so minutes, he could get you like 20 fancy points. So that's only for GPPs for sure at his price. Ilyasova at 3.3, not a terrible price for him. Again, these are guys that if you're going more the stars and scrubs approach, right? If you're trying to get like Trae Young or Giannis in your lineup, then you have to consider some of these cheaper guys. Ersan, again, I don't know if I don't think he'll kill you at this price. He's almost mid-price. I think he probably gets you, around 15 or so fancy points, maybe a little bit more. And that's about it. I don't think I would go Robin Lopez. Yeah, his minutes have been way down. So that is really it for center. Let's move on to power forward. And Giannis Antetokounmpo at 11.3K. So, yeah, that was a bit tilting for Christmas for me at least. I talked about it in my video yesterday where I originally had Damian Lee, Derek Favors, and Jokic in my lineup. And then I pivoted off that to get Giannis in. And then the 3 I pivoted to was Giannis, Daniel House, who was okay, and then I forget who else. Someone else who busted or wasn't that good. So, my original lineup would have crushed. But that's how it goes in DFS sometimes. Always go with your gut. Giannis just had one of his worst games of his career. 8 of 27, 0 of 7 from 3. Still had 50 fancy points too. So this is a scenario where, if Giannis gets the full 4 quarters, I think he can just crush the salary. There's no one in Atlanta that can stay with him. Even if this game blows out, I think there's a chance he can still get you like 60 fancy points in 3 quarters. Really, like it's that good of a spot. So. Again, if you think this game stays close, I think you definitely play Giannis. If you think it blows out, I probably would look elsewhere, but I still think he would have a shot to get you there in 3 quarters. Again, Sabonis, don't mind. I like him and Bam a lot as they're just 2 of my favorite players. I think they're fine if you get to them. I don't know if I'm going to get to them personally, though. Tobias Harris, so I'm frustrated because I don't want to play him, but they're just not moving his price. And this is a revenge game. Like, I don't like playing these other Philly guys when everyone is fully healthy, but they're just not moving his price tag. Now, the concern with him is he's somewhat scoring dependent. This game against Dallas in 32 minutes, he only had 12 fancy points because he shot the ball 3 of 11. So, that is a concern, but I don't know. Right now, for his level of production, he's been really good. Again, the concern is he's scoring dependent, but they're just not moving his price. So, in a revenge game spot, I think you got to have interest here in Tobias at 6.6K. Aaron Gordon at 6.4. Don't know if I'm going to get to that personally. A tougher spot against Philly. I know he had a good game there against Chicago, but I don't think I'm going to get there at 6.4. Oubre, I have some interest there at 6.3. Booker's back, or Booker and Oubre, or Booker and Rubio are healthy. Still no DeAndre Ayton. Oubre has gotten 38 minutes in back-to-back games. I think he stands out as a decent option here. If you're going with a full game stack, then maybe you play Oubre. So, yeah, no issue if you land on there at that price. He's been playing consistent minutes. We still got no Gallinari. I'll talk about the other OKC guys here in a bit. Jonathan Isaac at 6K, probably not for me. TJ Warren had a big game. I believe that last game he had 47 fancy points in 41 minutes. He had a surprising game where he had peripheral stats, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Normally he's a guy that is very, very scoring dependent. So I think it's more of an outlier game. His price is coming up. I will probably pass. Again, there's no Malcolm Brogdon too in that game, so that is something to note. Sarge at 4.9. Don't know if I can do it right now. His minutes are way down, 19 and 17 the last couple games. So if he's going to continue to play that few minutes, I just don't know if I can do it. Miles Bridges with PJ Washington now back in the mix. I think just there's too many guys. The minutes are so up and down. I don't know if I can trust it. DeAndre Hunter, I have some interest here, 4.7K. He's played 38 and 39 minutes back-to-back games. Now, I'm not a huge DeAndre Hunter guy, but If you think this game stays close, or if you're trying to game stack this game, I think he's a perfectly fine value option here if he's going to continue to play close to 40 minutes. Now, again, he's not the best point per minute guy, but he's been getting the big minutes of recently. Jabari Parker, his minutes have been way down. Can't do that. 15 in back-to-back games. Let's see. Derek Jones Jr., 4.3K, I think is an okay option. He's been playing consistent minutes here. 29, 31, 32, 26, 32 minutes. I don't think he's going to kill you if you get to him. He's 4.3. So, yeah, if you land him as value play, I have no issue there. Marvin Williams, again, the bigs for Charlotte, I just don't know if I trust with him, Cody Zeller, Biyombo. We got PJ Washington now back in the mix who should get some big minutes. So I'm kind of off those value bigs right now for Charlotte. Pascal right now is questionable. That is somewhat significant. He only played 7 minutes that game against Houston. If he misses, Draymond Green probably gets a little extra run. Those wings, Glenn Robinson, Burks, Damian Lee probably get a little more run. Again, Myers Leonard, if he's going to continue to get over 20 minutes at 3.6K, I think he's an okay value option for sure. Basley, he got limited. Actually, let me check to see how many minutes he played. Because he started, I believe they started Mike Muscala, though, in the second half. Let me confirm that. Or let me see how many minutes he played tonight. Because that game was close to the very end. He only played 19 minutes. So, it was Schroeder, Chris Paul, SGA, Adams, and Terrence Ferguson, who we can't even consider for DFS purposes. All got the big minutes. So, Basley, yeah, he got really limited. I don't think I could trust it, even with Gallinari out. Cameron Johnson at 3.5K, has gotten decent minutes, 17, 23, 19 minutes at 3.5. I guess he's okay as a value play. Again, if you're going more stars than scrubs, you got to consider some of these really cheap guys. But that's basically it for power forwards. Let's move to small forward. Again, I already talked about my love for Giannis. If you think this game stays close, I think you definitely play him. The upside is just enormous in this spot. And I think he's going to come out mad after having a bad performance there against Philly. So really like Giannis' spend up. Yeah, Ben Simmons here at 8.4K has had 3 straight pretty solid games, 47, 60, and 55. He's a guy I do like playing for DFS purposes because he fills up the stat sheet, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. Doesn't really have to score, but when he does have a good scoring night, he can have a huge ceiling game. This matchup against Orlando, again, not really the best. It's not necessarily the worst either. So I think at this price point right now, he's a little underpriced. So, yeah, like I said, I'm perfectly fine to get to Ben Simmons at that price. Jimmy Butler's price is coming down after, 3 not so good games, 32, 34, 36 fancy points. This is, a tougher spot against the Pacers, but I do like his price a good amount. I don't think he's going to kill you. And on good nights, he's a guy that can get you, over 50 fancy points. So he's definitely in play at that price. Middleton at 7K. He had a really good game there against Philly with Giannis struggling. He had 51 fancy points. Normally, Middleton's not a guy that has huge upside, so I think that's more of an outlier game. But again, this over-under is almost at 240. And, I think you either, load up in this game if you think it stays close or just completely fade it, maybe play like a value guy or two. I have no issue with Middleton. Am I going to play him personally? I don't think so. I think I would get to Giannis. And if I get to Giannis, I don't know if I can get to Middleton too, unless I'm just doing a full game stack. So that's kind of, the downside with Middleton. Now, I think that will lower his ownership. I think a lot of people will be thinking the same thing as me, right? We'll just plug in Giannis and then go from there. So I think Middleton does go forgotten about. So if you're a guy that's taking ownership in consideration for GPPs, I think Middleton does go a lot lower owned. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts there with Middleton. Let's see, Draymond Green, I do like his minutes the last few games. 31, 33, and 34 minutes. This is an up-tempo game. We got Pascal questionable. There could be more minutes to go around. He's a guy that fills up the stat sheet. Now, he did have a really good shooting night there, 8 of 14. I don't think we can expect that again. Normally, he's a guy that doesn't do a whole lot offensively, but he gets, the peripheral stats. So I do have some interest here at Draymond Green. His price is coming up a little bit, but I do like that, the minutes have been secure for him the last 3 games at over 30. Josh Richardson at 5.9K is okay. I don't think I'm going to get to there personally, though. Damian Lee, so he had the huge game, had 54 fantasy points. Now, that's definitely an outlier game for him. Don't think we would expect that again. 15 rebounds in 31 minutes, just insane. But, we got Pascal questionable. This is an up-tempo against Phoenix. His price moved up a little bit, but I still think he's very much in play here. He's a guy that, probably gets around 30 or so minutes. And yeah, I still don't mind him. Now, I think the ownership will go up on him just because people will be chasing that last game. Again, I would not expect 50 fantasy points from Damian Lee again, but I still think he's playable at that price. Fournier, so the other Orlando guys, I don't have a whole lot of interest in here in a tough spot against Philly. I think my only interest would be Vucevic, and I still don't see myself getting there at his price. DiVincenzo at 5.1K. Another one of those guys where I don't see myself getting there. I think there's just better value options. Let's see. Lamb at 5K. The issue with him is the minutes have been down. He did play 35 that last game against Toronto, but that game did go into overtime. So, yeah, I don't see myself getting there either. Let's see. So Glenn Robinson at 4.4K is another one of those Golden State guys that I think is very much in play. Now, they used him a lot to guard Harden there on defense. He played 37 minutes. I don't know if we can expect 37 minutes again, but if they're going to use him a lot to guard their best opposing team's best player, then that's good for his minutes, right? Because if they're going to use him to guard Devin Booker a lot, that's secures his minutes. Again, though, I don't think we get 37 again from him, but I think if we get close to 30 at 4.4K, he's an okay value option for sure. Again, don't mind Derek Jones Jr. Talked about him. He's been playing consistent minutes, about 30 or so a game. He's not a guy that has huge upside, but at that price, he doesn't have to do a whole lot. Duncan Robinson at 4.1. I would just prefer Derek Jones Jr. for a little bit more because Duncan Robinson, his minutes been down. He's a little bit too score independent for my liking. Cam Reddish at 4K. Not for me. He's one of the worst basketball real life players. I don't see myself getting there. Other options. So Batum, he started the last couple games. He played 30 minutes against Utah. Now the game against Boston blew out. He only played 22 minutes. If he starts again, you can consider him as one of those really cheap value guys. If you're going to more stars than scrubs, I wouldn't feel great about it. But again, if you're a guy that's going to play Giannis or Trae Young, you got to take some shots on some of these cheap guys. And that's basically it for small forwards. Let's move on to shooting guard. Again, I like Jimmy's price a good amount at 7.8K. I really like D'Angelo Russell here at 7.4. This game in general, I think it's my favorite game to game stack. A lot of the guys are underpriced. He had an okay game, not a huge game there against Houston. 31 minutes, 32 fancy points, but he is their go-to guy. And, the minutes have been secure for him, 33, 32, 33, 31. So I think he gets over 30 once again in a close game. And this game, again, I just think it's my favorite game to game stack. So I do have some interest there in D'Angelo Russell at that price. Devin Booker, too, really like him. I think he's been one of the most popular plays at 6.9K. It's just way too cheap. This is a team, Golden State, that doesn't play a whole lot of defense. Again, I think this game is my favorite game to game stack if you're going to game stack one for GPPs. Booker, I think, gets about 35 or so minutes in a close game, and his price is way down. So I do like Booker a lot there. I think he's going to be one of the most popular, if not the most popular play of the slate. And these OKC guys. I like these guys a good amount too. SGA, Schroeder, Chris Paul. So SGA in the game has Memphis, 37 minutes, 32 fancy points. The one downside with him is he is scoring dependent. Doesn't do a whole lot peripheral stats wise, but if he's going to continue to play the huge minutes in a game against Charlotte not that so good defensively, then I like these OKC guys a decent amount. So Brogdon is questionable. He'll be a game time decision. If he plays, I think he's okay if you get to him. If he misses, you could look to Aaron Holiday, but his price is up, or maybe TJ McConnell's a value play. I'll talk about those guys here in a sec. Dennis Schroeder at 6.6, so he had an okay game there in 32 minutes, 29 fancy points. Either way, again, no Gallinari, so all three of these guards I have interest in on the OKC side. I think all three are underpriced with SGA, Schroeder, and Chris Paul. Chris Paul had the big game. I'll talk about him here in a bit. But all three of those guys are very, very much in play at their prices. I like them all. I think all are underpriced. I do like Rozier, too, at 6.5K. His minutes have been really secure, 38, 36, 38 minutes. Him and Devontae Graham, and now with PJ Washington back, we know those guys will play the consistent minutes. Everyone else on the Charlotte team, the minutes are up in the air. But these are the guys that we know will play the minutes. Rozier, I think, is a little bit underpriced. In 2 of the last 3 games, he's had over 40 fantasy points. So I think he is very much in play there at 6.5K. And I think he goes a bit lower owned compared to those OKC guys, right? I think Schroeder, SGA, and Chris Paul will be higher owned. But I don't mind Rozier either at a similar price. And just looking at the slate for a bit, I definitely think this is a guard-oriented slate. There's a lot of good guard plays. Talking about them again, Jimmy Butler, D'Angelo Russell, Devin Booker, SGA, Schroeder, Rozier. There's a lot of guys I think are underpriced. So I probably will be going with 4-guard lineup here for Friday. Now, Alec Burks makes for an interesting GPP play. He was pretty popular in Christmas, was a little bit of a letdown, only got 24 minutes with Glenn Robinson back, had 22 fantasy points. Now, I think he goes super, super low on because, again, he somewhat burned a lot of people there in Christmas, but we know the upside is there on him when he's having a good night. We saw it against Minnesota. We saw it against the Pelicans. 40 and 48 fantasy points those nights. So he is someone that I don't think I can get there for cash games, but for GPPs, I think his ownership will be pretty low. Let's see, other options. Aaron Holiday. So you could look to him if Malcolm Brogdon misses. Again, the game against Toronto it did go to overtime, so he played more minutes. I wouldn't expect 40 fantasy points from him again. So, even if Brogdon misses, I think Holiday's okay, but I probably wouldn't get there myself. The other Miami pieces, guards with Goran Dragic back, none. Hero, probably not for me. Kevin Huerter's okay at 5.2K. The minutes have been somewhat consistent for him, 32, 32, 36, 32. He's not a guy that has huge upside, but I don't think he's going to kill you at that price at 5.2K. Fultz, probably not for me. Hero, again, these secondary Miami pieces with Goran Dragic back, their minutes are just somewhat capped now. George Hill, 4.2K. He's been playing, consistent minutes here, no blood, so I don't mind him at all in an upcoming game here at Atlanta. I think he's a little bit underpriced. Let's see. Wes Matthews, too score independent from me. Monk, I just can't trust those secondary Charlotte guys. I think that's it for shooting guard. So let's move on to point guard. Trae Young at 10.8K. That seems a lot to pay for Trae Young, but he has been paying it off recently. In the last 4 games, 41, 41, 40, and 36 minutes, 61, 50, 67, and 63 fantasy points. And this over-under is, again, 237.5. So, if you think this game stays close, I think you definitely you got to have some mention Trae Young. You could do the game stack with, play Trae Young, play Giannis, but then you're going to have to take some shots on those cheaper guys. Now, there are some guys that I think are very much viable, those cheap guys I talked about, but, that's kind of, that you're going to be forced into that build if you're going with, both Trae Young and Giannis. So, Trae Young, I think he goes a lot lower on compared to Giannis. Obviously, in my opinion, Giannis is more safe. But, the ownership's going to be a lot lower on Trae Young. And, if you're playing GPPs, you could always pivot to Trae Young if you only want to play one. Again, I think Giannis is a lot safer. But I guess, again, you could pivot to Trae Young at a similar price point. Let's see, other options. Devontae Graham at 7.5K, him, Rozier, even PJ Washington, who's now back. Those are the guys that we know are going to play the consistent minutes. I think he's an okay option here at this price. He did have a good game that last game, but I think I prefer other guards that are similarly priced. I think I prefer D'Angelo Russell. I think I prefer Chris Paul here at 7.3K, who had a big game, right? 54 fantasy points. He's been a little bit up and down, but with no Gallinari, they're pretty, they don't have a whole lot of options besides those guards with CP3, Schroeder, and SGA. So all 3 of those OKC guys are pretty appealing in my opinion. I really like Rubio as well here at 7.1. This game, again, probably my favorite game 2 game stack. The good thing with Rubio is he fills up a stat sheet, assists, rebounds. When he has a good scoring night, he can have huge upside. Again, Golden State, they don't play a whole lot of defense. So I really like Rubio. I really like Booker. Both are pretty underpriced in my opinion. Let's see. I already talked about Draymond Green. A lot of these guys I already talked about. Now, Goran Dragic at 5.3K is an okay GPP option. Again, there's so many of those guards I talked about where I don't see myself getting to Goran Dragic because I'm a one-lineup guy. But at his price at 5.3, I think he's an okay option. I think he gets somewhere in the 25 to 30 minute range, and he is a guy that does have upside. Now, again, I'm probably not going to get there myself because there's a lot of really good guard plays, but I don't mind if you want to take a shot there for pretty low ownership, in my opinion. Now, TJ McConnell, we could look there if Malcolm Brogdon is out. He played 24 minutes a game against Toronto. Now, if Malcolm Brogdon plays, I have no interest, but if Brogdon is out, I think he's very much in play here at this price point. And that is, Kai Bowman. So that was kind of surprising. They originally, Christmas said he was back in the G League, but then they said he was active. He played 22 minutes. He's played 23 and 22 in back-to-back games. I don't know if we can expect that to continue. You're not going to feel great about this, but he's basically mid-price. So if he's going to continue to play like over 20 minutes, you can take a shot there. Again, I think I would only take a shot there from going way more stars and scrubs. Definitely would not recommend that for cash games, but just thought I'd bring it up that he has played over 20 minutes in back-to-back games. And that is basically it. So again, for this slate, what I'm looking at, I think this Golden State Phoenix game, probably my favorite game to game stack. I also have interest in that OKC Charlotte game. I think a lot of those guards are underpriced, especially on the OKC side. Philly Orlando and Indiana Miami, not super excited about those. Those should be good games to watch, but not necessarily for DFS purposes. And then Milwaukee Atlanta is the big question mark, right? If you think it stays close, you probably play Giannis. You probably play a couple other pieces from that game. If you think it blows out, maybe you only target like one of those cheap guys and then kind of move on. But let's just talk about the guards one more time. So I want to reiterate the fact I think this is definitely a 4-guard lineup, or at least for me. I just like a lot of these guys. So Trae Young, probably not going to get there myself at 10.8K. I just like a lot of the guys at cheaper prices. So, Jimmy Butler, you can play him at small forward, but I think he's underpriced. D'Angelo Russell, I like him at 7.4. I like CP3. I like Ricky Rubio. I like Devin Booker a lot. He's going to be really popular. I like, again, all these OKC guys, SGA, Schroeder. I don't mind Rozier. See Draymond, but you can play him at, small forward. So those are the guards I have a lot of interest in. Then even like a TJ McConnell if Malcolm Brogdon misses. So that's why I see myself right now probably going with the 4-guard approach. And again, those are the 3 games that I mentioned with Phoenix, Golden State, OKC, Charlotte, and Milwaukee, Atlanta. Those are probably the 3 I'm going to have the most ownership in. Again, I don't really know what I'm going to do with that Milwaukee, Atlanta game. I'm either going to target a couple guys or just completely fade it. But that is, the key to the slate, in my opinion, getting that game right. But I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content, would really appreciate if you could like this video and subscribe. Again, if you want to get entered in the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. Let's one into the giveaway. Let's pray for no injuries this slate. Again, the De'Aaron Fox injury, super tilted about. But the worst thing is just, to keep in the back of your head. So all you got to do is try to move on. That's the good thing about DFS. I might not be able to live stream. I will let you guys know tomorrow on Twitter. Hopefully I can, even for like 20 or 30 minutes even. But again, I will let you guys know tomorrow if I will be able to. But again, I really do appreciate always coming to check out the video, and I will see you guys later.